talking to us. My name is Peter Kings Monday, as usual. I'll be talking to us on overcoming cloud, the challenges of overcoming cloud migration. It is true that everybody is talking about cloud architecture, want to talk about cloud computing, want to go to cloud computing, and basically we might have the idea about cloud computing, even if we're not into cloud computing. We've been saying it that cloud computing is a process where what you have on your physical system, your applications, your information, your data on your physical office as an organization can be migrated to the cloud, where you can actually access it anywhere in the world with just a phone or a laptop, and you still have the same deployment application of features as it were on your system. That's basically what cloud computing does. We're having a virtual class now. I'm here, and then I'm talking to somebody. I'm in Abuja, talking to somebody in Lagos, and then I'm presenting a class or a section to those in Lagos, Ogun State, and every other part of Nigeria. That's virtual. And so if it's possible, and then we can see each other via camera, then we're also saying that cloud computing is also the same method. Everything in your system on everything is possible to have a copy somewhere and still have access to it via internet and your PC, basically the internet, because you can use another person's PC, you can use your mobile phone, or basically on the internet. But what are the challenges of this? We know about hacking, we know about fraud, we know about the Yahoo guys, we know so many things about our data and how unsecured our information is when it comes to those guys' hand. Fortunately enough, or unfortunately enough for Nigeria, we have not gotten to a stage where we can on our own dictate and say, okay, this is wrong with our information, or this is what some people are trying to do with our data. So today we are going to look at what? Data security. Most of us don't know. I have been saying in some of my previous section where everybody will just give somebody's password. My password to my laptop is my date of birth. It's very wrong. To a genius, I would think about something that is unique to you. I will try it. If it's successful, that's it. Somebody will tell you that his password is my phone number, or my boyfriend's number, or my wife's number, or somebody's number. And so when you start having such, what's it called now? When you start having such things as your non-security or maybe your password, you are sure you are not going to be secure. The information will be vulnerable. And so this is why data security is important. We talked about it, talked about downtime when you're migrating as an organization, not just as an individual now. Downtime, do you always want your server to be down? Or what happens once your server is down? Then you look at cost and time, we look at scalability, we look at technical experts that are responsible in all this process of migrating from physical environment to the cloud environment. So first, I talked about what the data, data security. Now, when we talked about data security, what am I trying to say? I say it's a process. The process is vulnerable when moving data from a physical environment to the cloud. This requires experts to lead the necessary securities. You can see so many things are connected from my diagram here. If this is my cloud, everything around here as an organization is trying to hook up to this. So not just me alone, even 419, maybe hackers here. This is a web, for example. This is the www, the web page. Now, probably as my security is in the cloud, there are hackers around here who wants to what? Who wants to access, who wants to steal or infringe into my privacy. So then you need what? You need experts to lay the necessary architecture. If not, to run into problem. Your data will not be to you alone. You share data. If as far as Facebook, people can still hack another person's Facebook. If people can still log into banks' details and steal people's accounts and money, if people can still withdraw from somebody else's account, and yet the person has his ATM. So that means something is wrong. There's a breach in our data. There's a breach of data. So that data is very, very important that we are moving to the cloud. It's not enough to just take everything to the cloud. So many people can hook to this, to that same place, that environment in the cloud. So you will need what? An expert to do it. Then I talked about interoperability. You can see a different system trying to connect to this or different organization. So here we talked about the continued hacking and bridging of data from organizations, just like I said earlier, makes cloud mitigation a challenge. It's very difficult to establish connections between maybe your application and your information. Probably, let's take Bincom, for example, your social lender, the social lender in Bincom, and then maybe the mobile app team want to upload some of the activities or the applications that are being developed by the mobile app team. And then we also want to control our social lender. Let's now imagine putting the two of them in the cloud. And then we have to find a way to link them and ensure that these things, there's no breach between these two contacts. There's no, how do I put it now? There's no third-party access to these applications, not just maintaining the mobile app alone or just taking care of the social lender. We should be able to incorporate the two of them through this interoperability that, okay, Bincom is in charge of this. And so we'll have different applications in the cloud, but yet you can use one method or one means to control it. So it's difficult to establish such process, but it is very, very possible if you have the good engineers or the good, if you have a good or an expert in that regard that will put you through all these processes and make it what easy and operable. So we also talked about downtime. Again, if I come to you for a service and then I was disappointed, I go again, I come back the second time and I am disappointed the second time again, I wouldn't want to come back the third time. I'll feel you're not serious or you're not going to do anything for me. So if what you are doing on your physical environment, if you are enjoying your service on the physical environment, and then you decided that, okay, you're increasing, you're scaling up, people are coming more, you're gaining more customers. And so you want to go to the cloud, and then you get to the cloud, and then you start having downtime. It's not advisable. Then why don't you just remain on the physical environment with your local applications and local processes or server and maintain it? But now you're going to the cloud and then you began to have downtime. People will run away from you, which can lead to loss of customers. People will not want to come back to your site. Okay, I type www. Maybe I type kings.com, for example, and then I wanted to access something or buy something from online through your platform. I wanted to buy something online, and the whole thing, maybe after inputting my ATM and everything, and then the whole thing goes down. I waited a while. It came a bit and I'm trying to do again, it went down again. You wouldn't want to use my platform, for example. Let's look at QuickTeller. You want to use QuickTeller to recharge your light. You don't have light. And then you try the first process the second time and they are down. They are not just up. You wouldn't want to use QuickTeller when the next time, except you're sure the service is back. And then you must have even be a consistent customer to also want to try them after your nasty experience in the first place. So you don't want downtime. It's a big challenge. So breaking down time or having much time downtime in your organization or in your application might affect customers. So you don't want it. So this is one of the conditions we also need to look at. Then we talked about adaptability. Of course, when you're moving from your normal environment in a physical environment, for example, you're moving from maybe Ogun State to Lagos, you're not expecting that the same process, lifestyle in Lagos will be the same lifestyle you left in Ogun State is what you're going to pick up in Lagos. There will be different things. There will be a difference. There will be difference between the lifestyle in Ogun State and that of Lagos State. And so when you get to Lagos, you're going to adapt to the system. Probably in Ogun State, you leave your house by 6:30 and then you get to work by 8:30 or 9. But in Lagos, you're going to a place that maybe you're going to Ikeja from maybe probably you're coming from maybe Ogba, for example, or Agege. You're going to Ikeja, that is normally it's less than 1 hour or 45 minutes. But then because you know it's Lagos, you're going to leave probably by 6 so that you can make it to work by 8 or leave 6:30. You won't leave the same time the person in Ogun State is going to leave because the hold up might be less in Ogun State compared to that of Lagos. So that is what adaptability means. You have to adapt to the system. You can't, the lifestyle, when I go to Abuja from Jos, I remember I was claiming I could take my bath with cold water. And the first time, the second time, when I knew what it was, nobody told me I needed to warm water. I had to heat water to take my bath. That's trying to adapt to the system in Abuja, sorry. Not like that of in Jos, where the cold in Jos was much, but that of Abuja, you could use cold water. And so everything changes. The same way there are policies in the cloud that is different from that of the normal physical environment. So when you are in the cloud, you have to adapt to the new policy. How possible? How can your software take this new transition? I hope there will not be problem. What are the things that your architecture must put in place to make sure that your new software can adapt to the new environment? This is why you need, again, an expert to ensure that the same process, the same application can adapt to the new environment where you are migrating to. Then we talked about cost and time. Cost and time. Deployment of application to the cloud is time consuming. That's the truth, and could be stressful if not handled by experts. Straightforward. I don't even need to say anything. This thing is time consuming if it is not handled by experts. So you will need the right expert, you will need the right people to handle your applications through this process. Before you can say, okay, I want to deploy to the cloud, I want to go, you will need experts to do this. There is no need to put, then there's a need to put again into consideration. Even going to the cloud, there are, how do I put now? Going to the cloud, there are different applications or different ways you can hook to the cloud. Just like if you're living, probably you are living Kwara State to Lagos, you want to deploy to Lagos, you want to leave your place in Kwara State, you can use many methods to get to Lagos. Or let's say you're going to Cotonou from Nigeria, Lagos. You can either use, you can go through the sea, you can go through the air, and you can go through the road. But the question will now be, which one is cost effective? How much do you have in your pocket? If from here to Cotonou will take you 15,000, if from here to Cotonou by car will take you 15,000, and from here to Cotonou by plane will take you 60, and from here to Cotonou maybe by ship will take you maybe 8,000. You ask yourself, how much do I have? Can I afford the 60 or the 40? So even in the cloud, you need to have an expert who will give you why you shouldn't spend 60 just by going alone. You should also consider hotel accommodation and what have you. All those things need to be put into consideration. So the same way, going to the cloud, you need to think about the cost and the timing. For example, the cost, that's the bandwidth, the cost of mitigation, all needs to be put into consideration. Okay, how many bandwidth am I commanding? How many how many customers are going to hook up at the same time? How strong will the network be? What will I need to put in place to ensure that this things happen? So all this needs to be put into consideration, and you will need an expert on that. So then we talked about network reliability. Of course, from the word, we should also know that how secure, how reliable is our network. It's not a network that will be very fast today. I will tell you, apart from MTN, I use Airtel. I don't even use MTN, but I know that a lot of people will say that MTN is better. Apart from MTN, let's say how many service providers, how reliable are the networks again? Glo, Airtel, Etisalat, how reliable are they? That you can wake up 24 hours, let's say 365 days, you never had a downtime on them. I am not saying there should not be downtime, but in cloud computing or in network service provision, we believe that the maximum downtime you should have is 5 seconds. So Mr. Bade will call it 9999.9. 9999.9. So that means that 0.1 is even something. That's the least you ought to have. So let's assume you have 5% downtime. It should not be an issue. But in Nigeria, 60% of our time, we are struggling with one form of, can you hear me? Network is bad. Can you hear me? Are you hearing me? This morning, I had to pray like, God, please let there be network. Let me not mess up. So that was one of the conditions. So how reliable is your network? That is one of the things we need to put into consideration. Then we look at network performance. Even the network you are able to pay for, the server, you need to check, is this same network secured? Is this same network, how do you monitor this network that we're talking about? What are the processes? You still need an expert to help you monitor these things to make sure that it's up and running, that there's no downtime, that then there's no other, like I remember there was a day somebody was telling me that, look, I like going to that office because they have free internet and they didn't lock it. So her interest is just go there and use internet. Probably the thing was open for something, but as far as we are concerned, that's the best place to download movie. So how secure, who is monitoring, what are the provisions, what are the rules and conditions placed on that network? How do you secure it from people, external users, that it can serve the purpose that it is meant for? Even if you password your network, it's still not a guarantee that people will not try to break it. You will need somebody to monitor. You can say, okay, I'm sharing my network with 3 people that are in the company. The same 3 people will invite their friend and say, okay, stay outside, let me give you the password. Then before you know it, the network that's meant for 5 people will be used by 10. How secure is your network? So you will need somebody to monitor it. All this require what? An expert. Usually when you want to scale something, maybe you're having 500 users and now you want to move to 1 million, customers are increasing. They have gotten up to 1 million people. Usually to take 45 to 60 days to want to scale from your normal application, if you don't want to break it, down to a higher application. But if you have the right expert who know what they are doing, they can help you scale these things and grow the network from that stage, that the 500 to 1 million without issue. That's what I meant by scalability. Then technical experts. Many organizations lack the technical expertise required for transferring this existing system to the cloud. Yes, the whole thing is there, but who and who? It's not everybody that will just say, okay, I graduated from so university, I went through this so I have this experience, I have that. Then when you ask them, please come and do this, they don't know what to do. Or even the service provider themselves, let's say, okay, who want to use somebody will say, I'm good at Microsoft Azure. I can deploy through Microsoft Azure to the cloud. Another person will say, okay, I'm good at Alibaba Cloud. I can use Alibaba Cloud to deploy application. Another person will say, no, I know how to use the AWS. The question is, how good are they? How can you access this expert? In case of downtime, something happened, or maybe data loss or breakout, who can you reach out to? So you need to look at experts that will give you guidance and counsel on which application, which service to use. And okay, I know for sure that nobody for now, no cloud computing organization or company or service provider will tell us that they are better, that they don't have their own challenges or disadvantages. Some has. I know that when it comes to OTP, for example, AWS will charge you, Azure will not charge you. But when you go down to Azure, Azure has their own challenge that AWS don't have. So there's so many things you will need to put into consideration before you deploying into the cloud. So that's why you need a technical expert. Then in conclusion, so looking at the above challenges, it is always helpful to seek expert advice from a trusted third party. For example, this cloud journey offers various types of cloud migration solutions from which expert enterprises can pick as per their requirement. You check, when you go there, you will say, okay, this is what I want. Bincom is an example of this cloud journey, because when you come to Bincom and you tell them, this is what I want to do, they'll give you, okay, let's look at the possible way, the best scenario, the best path for you to take as an organization, so we can deploy through it for you. But not just to go to the roadside and look, okay, I'm a cloud engineer, okay, come and move our things to the cloud. You might end up moving everything that you have, and you might end up losing more. So before you do that, there's a need to get expert advisors to enable the organization keep their costs down. After all, the aim of every organization is to get everything running while we pay less. And this is why I chose to give this little hint on how to move to the cloud, since everybody wants to move to the cloud. Thank you so much for listening. I know there are so many questions. Please, if there are questions, you can ask now, or I don't know, maybe after the second presenter, I'll hand over to the coordinator. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, for your presentation. Please, if you have any question, you can go ahead and ask.